Hello friends, welcome to our third journaling class. Today we are going to be focusing on prompts that include gratitude or thinking about things that you are thankful for. So when I was doing the intro video, I showed you the technique of writing I'm grateful for and then alternating colors and creating a pattern and sort of just like a list of things that you're grateful for. So this is an option if you'd like to do this afterwards, but we don't need to do this type of journal together. I want to show you a more visual based type of prompt that included more pictures. So today I'm going to be using my journal, of course. I've got my stencils that I'm going to be using. I've definitely got my ruler. My ruler is very important today because we're going to need straight lines. If you'd like to start in pencil, that is your choice. I'm actually going to be using one of the pens that I was given in my pack. So, because it's really fine lined and I really like how small of a line it is. So I'm going to be using this to draw with to start, but I've also got the colored pencils that I'm going to be coloring some of my pictures with after. So I'm going to turn the camera so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so last week we did this type of visual journal where we've got the magazine clippings and a little bit of writing as well. And then flip to a new page because we are going to do another 2-page spread. So I'm going to use my ruler, and what the idea is to create multiple different boxes on both of your 2-page spread, and we're going to do small drawings of maybe some of the things that I included on this list. So things that make me happy, but I'm doing drawings of them or little doodles instead of writing them. So to create straight lines, you're gonna want to grab your ruler, and I'm going to start on the left hand side of my spread, and I'm just going to create a small box. So I'm doing like 1.5 inches by 3 inches, and then going back up 1.5 inches to box it off. Remember, it does not have to be perfect. You just do the best that you can. If you make a little mess up like I just did, it really doesn't matter. So my line's not perfectly straight, but that's okay. It's kind of hard with the binding. So I'm gonna fill in this whole page with different boxes. Maybe I wanna use my ruler to create a nice big box in the center that's about 4 inches wide, because I want to have something that I'm focusing on this page. The bigger I make it, the more noticeable it is. So I'm going to do a large box right in the middle. And then maybe I'll do a smaller rectangle here. And I want to leave some room in between each of my boxes in case I want to add like a little picture frame or some sort of design around my box. So sometimes it's just easier to turn the journal instead of turning your ruler. I'm gonna do a more narrow box on the bottom. This one's about 5 inches long with about 1 inch of width. I could even include some type of lettering on the side or in between my pictures. Let's say I didn't want to do like a picture frame around these boxes. You could be doing different words in between some of these boxes if that's something that you think you might prefer. So I'm going to do a nice long box on this page to break it up and make it different from my last page. So now I did one page of the spread. I'm moving on to my second page. You can just do one page if you'd like. If you feel like a little overwhelmed by doing 2 pages, you can just stick to one. That's totally fine. And I want to make sure my boxes are not lining up with the boxes on the other page. At least that's what I want. I don't want them to be the same, but maybe you do want symmetrical boxes. That is totally up to you. But in my case, I'd like them to be asymmetrical. and all different sizes. So I'm gonna keep these doodles pretty simple, more like cartoony and less realistic. But if that's not your style, if you prefer to do more realistic drawings, then you are more than welcome to do that. So I have 4 on the left-hand page, and I think I'm gonna have 5 on the right-hand page. So if you don't know this, whatever is your non-dominant hand, whatever hand you don't write with, should be the hand that is holding down the ruler and keeping it nice and straight while you are creating your boxes. So I used a light, almost like a forest green pen. You might be using black, you might be using pencil. If you are using pencil, you might want to go over your lines afterwards with like a Sharpie or a marker or even one of the pens. If you didn't get one of these kits, that's totally fine. Whatever you're using is definitely going to work. You don't need to be using the tools that we were given. Okay, my friends, so I've got 5 boxes on this page and I've got 4 boxes on this page. So now, because I've already done this list, I'm going to maybe look at it for some ideas of things that I could do doodles of. Maybe if you'd like to, you could press the pause button and do one of these I'm grateful for exercises to get you thinking about what it is you'd like to draw. So I think I'm gonna grab a different pen. I'm gonna grab a purple pen and I'm going to pick one of the things that I wrote down, which was the ocean. So on this page, I'm gonna be doing some wavy lines. I chose purple, but you do not need to be using the same colors as me. It would probably be more meaningful to you if you chose things that you are grateful for, but maybe you are grateful for the ocean as well. It is so nice to be able to go to the beach right now. So I just kept it really simple with just lines right now because I'm going to go in afterwards and add color with my colored pencils. So I'm gonna move on with a different color. And something else I wrote is sunshine. So maybe I'll switch over here to a different box and I'm just gonna do a little silly doodle of sun. I like spiral lines a lot. So I'm just alternating long and short lines. And like I said, this is just a doodle because afterwards I'm going to go in with color and make it a little bit more detailed. Okay. I'm also grateful for my plants. So I'm going to go ahead in this box and create some drawings of some of my plants. At home I have a ton of plants. It's just sort of like a hobby. I like to collect them. Okay, so I'm just gonna do some leaf-like lines and then create a pot using an ellipse. An ellipse is when you do like a squished circle to make it look like you have an oval shape with depth. So an ellipse is like a circle that you've squished to try to show that there is space inside. So I did one plant, I'm going to do another one. So just using a different colored doodle pen. Also, the plants outside have just been so gorgeous and fun to look at. Okay, so I just did another ellipse. And then to make it look like a pot, I always do a little line underneath before I box off my pot. You can sort of see pen and ink from my last entry, and that's totally fine. I'm gonna cover it up with my colored pencil, so it doesn't matter that you can see that. I've also made some mistakes with my boxes, and I don't care. I will fix it when I am working on it later with some colors. What else? I'm grateful for camping. I love camping. It's been a long time since I went camping, but I really do still like it. So I'm going to draw a little tent. So I've got a triangle that I haven't quite closed off, and then I've got a horizontal line. And I'm going to create another parallel line to the first triangle, and then connect those empty shapes to create a tent. And then I like to do these lines on the side to show that there's a little zip so you can get all snuggled at night, hide from the bugs. And I'm just drawing some little logs to create a little scene. And like I said, I'm just gonna leave it like that for now. I will color it later. Let's see, what else? I have coffee. I love coffee. I'll choose one of my smaller squares to draw a cup of coffee. This actually looks like a light color, so maybe I'll grab that brown again. I'm gonna draw another ellipse for a mug. And then do more of a rounded shape. And then a backward C for my handle. You might be drawing something completely different, and if you are, you can like totally ignore me. You can turn it off if I'm distracting to you, or maybe I'll give you some ideas. Either way, I just want it to be meaningful to you. So then I did some swirly lines to show that my coffee is hot. Let's see, what else? Clean water. Yes, I'm thankful for clean water. Maybe I'll just draw some raindrops over here. If you've ever gone somewhere where the tap water is not drinkable, you will look at water totally differently because it is a pain to go get, and I think sometimes we forget how nice it is to just have drinking water from the tap. So I just did raindrops because you know what? I'm actually grateful for rain as well. It takes care of my garden. So that is really for two things. Let's see. Books. I love books. I will do books over here. So I'm just gonna draw some different sized rectangles over here. Make it look like a bookshelf. Maybe later, after we are done together, I could go in and write some of my favorite book titles in some of these rectangles and make it just a little bit more personal. I don't know if you guys are reading some summer books right now, but I'm really enjoying the one that I'm reading right now. I always love reading before bed. That's just sort of a nightly ritual I do. So I just did different sized rectangles in the bottom because I'm going to fill it in later with my colored pencils and maybe some titles. So I have 2 more boxes left, but you might have more or less depending on how many you drew. So let's see. Art class, duh. And just art supplies in general. I'm gonna do a little painter's palette, which is almost like a lily pad shape. And then I'm going to add my circles because later I will color it in with color pencils to add paint. And then I'm going to add my paintbrush. I don't know about you, but art has just been such an outlet for me while we are at home during these times. I do so much art. And then let's see. Last one should be tall because the last box that I have is a tall rectangle. So I think I'm actually just gonna draw some trees because I think I would like the way that looks. And I am really grateful for trees. Trees rock. I love looking at all the different trees in my backyard and seeing if I know what kinds are living above me. And you know what? A lot of the time I don't know, but I like to learn. So I'm just doing some 2 trees with some branches sticking out. I could do some dashed lines to add a little texture for my bark. Okay. Okay, so let's switch it up. Now we can go to colored pencils. If you wanted to, friends, you could grab some washi tape and like border your pages with tape, or you could border some of your pictures. Maybe I'll do that later. Maybe I'll just grab a small piece of tape and use it to just create like a frame with some of my tape. I'm going to take all my colored pencils out now so that I can see them. And I'm just gonna sort of fill in some of my doodles. If you have not been to the beach yet, it is so nice to get there and just sit in the sun. Maybe bring a good book, go look for hermit crabs, maybe just catch some rays and chill out. So I'm not gonna color all of these doodles because we'd probably be here a long, long time. But I'm just gonna show you that when you're coloring with colored pencils, you don't need to stick to one color. Actually, I think colored pencils work best when you are layering them and going almost like cross-hatching. Cross-hatching is when you create one type of line going in a specific direction, either horizontally or diagonally or vertically, and then you switch directions and you add more lines going in the opposite direction so that it almost creates like a shadow or more value. So that's just something that I like to do when I'm using colored pencils. It creates a little bit more depth. So that's what I'm going to be doing when I am coloring some of these pictures today. So like I said, if you like to, you can grab another doodle pen and create some frames around some of these rectangles and squares that you drew, and it'll almost like look like a little, like a mini picture, a little picture gallery. You could do a bunch of different types of frames. You could have some that are swirly, some that are diagonal and look like actual frames. Like I said, you could use more of the washi tape and try to create your own frames using the tape. There's so many possibilities. You do not have to do what I'm doing. I probably won't do frames for all of mine because they're not gonna fit. So I'll just pick a select few that I think would look cool with a little design around the square. And then maybe for the other ones, I will grab that tape, or maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just leave them blank. I don't know yet. So I hope that you are enjoying thinking of things that you are grateful for and just doing some doodling, some cross-hatching, some coloring, and just having fun and thinking about what it is that you are appreciative to have. And think outside the box. Maybe it's really something you don't normally think about. So I hope that you had fun today. I'd love to see some pictures of things that you are creating. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'd love to chat and see your journals. Have a great day, my friends.